we won't change time right now. Probably not today.
Yeah.
And it's tough because Sam, I think, is involved all week in London with a project, so we need to connect it with him. Okay, so we're live. So let's have a scrum. Paul, you were the first to arrive. Do you want to go first?
Yes, well, I'm without a story at the moment. So that's what I'm looking for.
Your son's story, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your story got merged, as you saw, I think, this weekend?
Yeah.
Something like that? Yep.
Yeah.
So that looks good. How about right after the scrum, we take a look at the storyboard, see what's there?
Okay.
Yep. Okay, great. Excellent. All right. Thanks for the update. Laura, how about yourself?
Hey. From my side, I finished up on the RSpec testing for MetPlus. And I pushed that up. I then just made some tweaks from Hound was complaining. And then I did see some failures, which I then realized that I hadn't done an update to my upstream. So I did update to upstream and then just pushed that forward, and I saw that everything was passing now. I did assign myself a new story, but I will only work on that once mine has been pulled in. Other than that, I've just been working on client deliveries.
Okay. You don't have to wait for your PR to get merged before starting another story. Okay. It's up to you.
Okay, great.
Did you see my comment about you've got 25 files being pulled in with that PR?
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because you haven't rebased against development.
Okay. So maybe we can just spend some time just so I can understand what you mean by rebase, because it's not something that we did in boot camp. So
yeah, there are various ways
that I
to
make
resolve
sure
that.
that
Yeah, no, I gotcha. Sorry.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, there's multiple ways to resolve that. I tend to like rebase, but we can, after the scrum, we'll walk through the mechanics of that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and that should clean it up. I think you've only got one actual file changed in the PR, right?
Yeah.
That you touched, and the other 24 should go away once we rebase.
Okay, great.
Okay, great. We'll do that. Arun, how are things going with you?
Yeah, so I was working on Wiki dashboard, the issue where you could create a course with end time occurring before the start time. So I just submitted a PR on that.
Oh, good.
And I'm looking forward to work on the bugs and MetPlus pets that I assigned myself a couple days back. So,
oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
so you've got those. Yeah, those 2 bugs assigned to you. Okay. Great. Good. Okay. All right then. For myself, I've well, we're working on the change in the meeting time. That's all still pending for the Swedish dog industry project, the so-called SHF. I submitted 2 PRs yesterday. For MetPlus, I think we did some pair programming yesterday, Laura and I did some pair programming with Hanesh as well in the afternoon, my time, for his story on MetPlus. And on WikiEd, we did some pair programming with Michael Zeng, because he's had a story he's been working on. And hopefully we helped him. And that's pretty much it for me. No blockers on my side. All right, so that's Scrum then. Why don't we, let's see, why don't we take a look at the storyboard and look through stories that might be good for Paul, and then we can switch to your.
Okay, that's great, because I'm starting up my laptop, so.
Okay, yeah.
Perfect.
All right. So let me, what we got here? I just see if I can remember what's going on here. Add tests for Cruncher service. So I think Vijaya has not been active in the project for quite some time now. I think she may have been involved with other stuff. So we have a bunch of stories that I created to increase our test coverage, Paul. So you'll see stories, add tests. Those are the ones. And I think most of them have been, well, let's see. Add tests for job viewer concerns. That's the one that you're working on. Laura's working on. I think I should be moving that into in progress. User redirect. Add tests for people. That's a tough one. This might be a good one to do. So, we use Pundit for our authorization, right, Paul?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and so we've got default application policy that comes along when you install Pundit, and it generates a default set of policies that you can use. And all our model-specific policies all subclass from this particular model, or object. Or class, I should say. So you could actually write some fairly straightforward tests to make sure that these red lines here are tested. That's what's complaining. That would help. There's that.
Yeah.
That should be fairly straightforward. Let me see if this one, people limitations controller. Yeah, that would be a good one as well. This is a devise controller. Devise is what we use for authentication.
Yeah.
And so this has been enhanced from what devise delivers to do some things based upon who's coming in, what type of person they are. Yeah, so we need some tests around these particular enhancements or customizations to that controller. So that's a good one you could take on as well. User redirect. So is this still a? So I noted 6 months ago, I can't duplicate this bug, so let's forget about that one. Job status searchable field. Oh, that's a pretty good one. You're familiar with the jobs index view, right?
Yeah.
A little bit. And this is the story that you created in part of improving that index view. So if you wanted to take that on as well, so it's up to you. So I think at the bottom, you've got 3 decent stories here to start. The application policy could probably kill that off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then maybe go to the job status. I think that's a useful item to include in the search capability.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll start with 549.
Okay, 549.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, good. Well, that'll queue you up nicely. Do you want me to go ahead and add you to that while we're here?
Yeah,
you already did?
Okay. I was going to, but...
Okay, I'll just let you do it then. That's fine.
All right.
Okay, great. So Laura, for your situation,
Yes.
you've got 25 files coming in, as I noted before.
Yeah.
And so what we tend to do with those things, at least what I like to do, and people may have, okay, so developing a feature, which one of these is appropriate? Let's look at developing a feature. Yeah. So this is on the wiki, and it's called developing a feature. So it talks about, the standard stuff of create your feature branch, do your development, etc., and get ready to push it up to create a PR.
Okay.
But what I wrote here is that before you do that, though, go back to your local development branch in your local, and then update it with respect to any changes that have occurred upstream.
Yeah.
So that's what's happened with you. There are a bunch of things that have been merged into the project repo development branch. And so suggestion is to go back to your local development branch, get those changes from upstream into your local development branch. Mm-hmm. And now they're in your local repo. And then you go back to your feature branch that you've been developing in, which means you check it out again. And then you do this, get rebase development. That basically says get all the changes that have occurred in my local development branch and apply them to this feature branch that I'm on.
Patrick, sorry for interrupting. So I know of a simple way to do this. So can I go ahead?
Yeah.
Yeah. So check out into your feature branch, Lara, and then you can just pull the changes and at the same time rebase. Rebase is a fancy way of saying like changing the history, so you start working on a feature, and in the meanwhile a lot of commits get into the master, but you have to kind of mimic the fact that you are working on top of those commits.
Yes.
This does so it mimics the fact that you are working recently, like you are working on the latest commit of the master. So I'll just press the command which lets you do this.
Hmm. I don't see the command. Oh, I see. Get
Yeah.
pull dash rebase upstream development. Okay.
So before doing this, make sure to check out to your feature branch, and then it should
Yes.
be all good. And if yeah, so if you get some merge conflicts, you might have to fix it.
Okay.
So what exactly does that command do? When the rebase, what's it rebasing against? Against upstream development?
Yeah,
Is
so
that
it's
correct? Yeah.
kind of figuring out the lowest common ancestor, so uh, it finds a common ancestor for a common commit, and then adds the commits that were added after those from the master, and then
Yep.
applies your own commit on
Right.
top of everything.
So you could do that too. Like I said, there's multiple ways to do
So
it.
you don't have to
Mhm.
fetch it in one step and then rebase it. Instead of that, you could same
Yeah.
do the same.
So the only thing I would add to that, though, the reason that I have it written this way is eventually you have to update your local development branch anyway.
Yeah, but I do it the other way around.
You do it
approach
reverse.
badly.
Yeah. So that's a good way to. It's basically doing the same thing. We're just bypassing what Arun's recommend is bypassing local development branch update and just go directly to your feature branch, pull from upstream development and rebase directly against upstream development, which works too. It's basically the same thing. But again, before you develop your next feature, you still have to go back to your development branch, pull all upstream changes from upstream development in there. So either way.
Okay, so yeah, so just to explain what I did so that it's out there on YouTube is so I went into exactly, why not? I went into development branch and I did a git pull upstream, and it updated all the files and nothing, there were no merge conflicts or anything like that. I then went back into my feature branch, and then I said git merge development. That's what I did.
You said git merge development. Well, that's effectively the same thing as rebasing.
Yeah.
No, I think it will actually merge her local development branch. Am I right?
Yeah, so that's what
She
she did.
didn't mention upstream, right?
No, she did git merge development. Instead of rebase here, she did git merge development. That's right, what you did? Yeah. Well, I think that should have worked as long as you'd done this step beforehand, which you said you went to your development branch, you did git fetch upstream, and then you did git merge upstream / development. Is that
no, I
correct?
didn't do the merge. You see, I didn't do the upstream / development. I just went in my feature branch. I went git merge development. So I left the upstream /
So that's what it's actually doing is it's merging your local development branch. So that's what I told you. So you have to fetch the upstream one and then merge.
Okay.
And then
yeah. So
yeah.
Staying with these mechanics, is if you just did a git fetch upstream in your development branch, and you did not get a git merge, all you did with the git fetch is you pulled updated pointers pointing to the branches in upstream. You didn't move any of those changes into your local development branch.
Okay.
It just sets up pointers that says when you're ready to pull some stuff, we now know where to find it. And then this is actually what pulls the changes from upstream, the code changes, into your local development branch. So both of these steps are critical.
Okay.
Frequently, you'll see git pull upstream development. Pull just says a fetch followed by a merge in one command, but essentially it's the same thing.
Okay. So now I just got to go back a couple of commits. Is that what I need to do in
No, I think you just got to go to your local, check out your development branch
Let's
on
just
your
do that. Okay.
local, do these commands,
Yeah.
and
Perfect.
now you've pulled the changes from upstream, and then go to your feature branch. And then
Cool.
this is the way that I've written it up here, and Arun has another way of doing it.
Yeah.
So check out whatever your branch name was in Rebase against your local development, which is good because your local development now has everything that upstream development has. So
Okay.
you'll pull in all those changes.
Okay.
And then when that happens, when we push it up to GitHub again, GitHub will say only one file has changed. Now it's saying the additional 24 is because the mismatch, between what's upstream and what you've got locally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, there's multiple ways to. I wrote this because I found for myself and a lot of newbies to get as well. It's nice to have just a cookbook that if you just follow the cookbook, you pretty much can stay out of trouble. It's when you start to Git is really, I think, fairly confusing for a newbie. And there's so many ways to do everything. I just find it fraught with risks and getting into trouble sometimes. I don't know how you guys feel, but
Yeah, no, agreed.
yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Arun. Thanks, Patrick.
There's a good blog I found, blog entry from 2012 says 12 reasons why I hate Git or something like that. and it's really well done, and he really knows Git really well.
Yeah.
But anyway, he goes, but one of the things that makes me laugh is he says the documentation on Git, he says the Git documentation is a big FU. Except he doesn't, he says the whole word, not just the letter. And it really is. If you look at the man pages, it's written for the people who know Git, the people who actually developed Git, wrote those man pages for themselves. So it's tough. Anyway, enough on bashing of
There's
Git.
quite a good cheat sheet. There's quite a good cheat sheet you can get for it.
Yeah. There's a few. I think I've bookmarked 2 or 3. Absolutely. And once in a while, I try to learn one more esoteric thing about Git when I have time. Just dive into it. But yeah, it's a great tool. It's incredibly powerful.
Patrick, I just want to tell you something. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Patrick?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we do git fetch upstream, it is fetching all the branches, it isn't necessary. So we only care about the development branch. Oh,
yeah,
wait a second. I mean, we don't really need that additional step, right? I haven't looked at it, the whole wiki, but I'm just guessing. So before starting to work on a branch, you have to update your local repo. So that's just pull the changes, because you never make changes to the development branch locally. So it's fine.
Right.
You can just pull it. And then after making the changes, you can just rebase it, right? I don't see the need for step 5. Or maybe I'm missing.
Well, you do have to update your local development branch with respect to upstream, right? What you're saying is you could just do a git pull upstream /development and not do a separate git fetch, which pulls down pointers to everything upstream. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, kind of. But not exactly. So maybe I'll read through it and I will talk about it in the chat.
Yeah, I'll be the first to tell you that what I'm doing in the wiki there is not optimum. So, if you want to make some changes, that's fine.
Yeah, I was actually saying something along the lines of that. Yeah, maybe. So we'll talk about the other.
No, that'd be great. I mean, feel free. If I would just suggest, if you do, just put a little explanation as to what the command's doing. Just so people are aware. So
yeah, I'm a bit of a newbie, but I had the impression that there was a difference between rebase and merge, because rebase sort of updates the common ancestor.
Yeah, there is a difference between rebase and merge. Merge does try to take all the changes and mash them together into one massive commit that combines the differences on both sides. Whereas rebase, as Arun said, walks back to find the common ancestor and then tries to insert the commits against the thing you're rebasing against
Yeah.
before your local commits.
So-
So it looks like magically those commits have occurred before you started on your development
Yeah.
commits. Yeah, Arun, go ahead.
Yeah, so if you're merging, the topmost commit will be the merge commit rather than your own commit.
Right. Okay.
If you rebase, the topmost commit will be what you worked on rather than the merged one.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to think of it too. I know a lot of people have learned never do rebase. It's evil. I just find it to be a cleaner way to update the
Yeah.
feature branch. And some people say, "Oh no, just merge." And never, they've been told never ever do a rebase. I don't get that because
No.
for the circumstances we're in here, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think
Far
as long
from
as you're
it.
clear on what it is you're doing and you use the appropriate command.
Exactly. Yep.
Great.
All right then. Well, enough on that, huh? We could spend hours on Git,
I know.
People do.
but let's not.
Okay, just one more question. Do we have any JavaScript projects that are running on Agile Ventures at the moment? I'll tell you why. Michael, who was part of my boot camp,
Mhm.
he's really wanted to learn JavaScript, and for the past 3 months he's been doing a lot of tutorials and things like that, and now he wants to get his hands dirty on. So he just asked me to find out if there are any projects that are using JavaScript or
Well,
that he
the
can
one that,
jump in on.
yeah, there's a lot of JavaScript in the WikiEd project. Of course, most of what
Okay.
they're doing on the front end is React. Is he interested in learning React as well?
Yeah, he's actually going to start learning React now.
Oh, well, that's a great project for him then.
Okay.
Um,
What you said it was called?
the WikiEd project, it's the Slack channel is, let's see, what is it? wiki_edu_dashboard.
Okay. I'll
And
have a look.
yeah, and there's a wiki_edu-notify for the CI notifications and things.
Okay.
But point him at that.
I will, definitely.
Yeah. And we tend to have it later in the day, scrums. But that'll be
Okay.
6 hours from now. It's probably going to be too late for him. He's in Sweden, is that right?
Yeah, so he's on the same time zone as me now.
So he could join this scrum and
Yeah,
we could talk about.
you would choose the Scrum. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that would be a good one to point him at.
Okay, great. I will do. Perfect.
We
Thank you.
actually have a lot of significant amount of JavaScript, I guess. Well, not significant in
Yeah.
NetPlus as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
There is a project I want to do in NetPlus. You know, when we paginate and we hit the pagination links, go back and forth.
Yeah.
We're not reloading the page every time because that's all being managed by JavaScript. We're just updating the DOM element for the next
Yeah.
pagination page. That's all well and good, but if you actually click on the top tab, if it supports sorting by column, if you click on the column name to sort, that's actually forcing a page reload every time.
Okay.
That I want to make driven by JavaScript as well, but if you wanted to work on that, I could certainly walk him through getting started there. But
Okay.
I think the WikiEd probably be a better one for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Perfect. I'll let him know.
Okay, cool. All right. Sounds like a plan. So anybody else have anything?
Not for me.
All right, well, good.
No.
Thanks, everyone. We'll hopefully connect tomorrow then. Same time, I think, at this point, unless you see something in
All
Slack.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.